great job he has done coming home to Louisville at 52 years old. 1 year in and already in a spot like this. Jesse Jack Plummer, 38th start of his career. To frame that against the true freshman, he's opposite. 6th season of college football and his 3rd program.
He's experienced, but Plummer's got some physical limitations, Joe. He doesn't have the strongest arm in college football, and his accuracy can be a bit up and down, but he makes really good decisions. He's really good at reading coverage. The ball goes where it's supposed to. He's got a very high football IQ. He's going to be under a lot of duress against this pass rush from Florida State tonight.
As a 1,000-yard rusher in the backfield, flanking him in Gerard Jordan. And that is who will touch the ball first tonight, and only able to maybe get a half yard as he ran straight into Braden Fisk.
Well, obviously, Louisville's going to come out trying to run the football. It's really their identity. And Florida State, we keep talking about the pass rush and how good they are with guys like Verse, and just saw Fisk a second ago. But they have struggled recently against the run, Joe. Games against Miami and Florida, they got gashed a little bit. Louisville's run game, they're going to try and put them to that test.
The transfer from Western Michigan.
He's made such an impact on this defense. We talk about Verse, we talk about Peyton, but you go inside here, just so much quickness. He's going to beat the center, Brian Hudson. This coaching staff and D coordinator Adam Fuller, they call him a ball of knives. He's been so disruptive all season long for the Seminoles.
Oh, he sliced right through that offensive line, and now it sets up a 3rd and 12, so watch out for Verse and Peyton. Here's the quick game. Inside screen to Bell, and he is wrapped up immediately by Akeem Dent and Fisk. Fisk is so active early.
It sure is. They're obviously very aware of what's coming off the edge. So on the first 3rd down of the game, they try to get it out of Plummer's hands quickly, out into space on a screen, see if you can make a guy miss. But you're seeing the speed of this Florida State defense, sideline to sideline, and Braden Fisk, he came to play. He's rocking and rolling here early.
Brady Hodges on to punt to the All-ACC first-team specialist return man, Keon Coleman. And this is a line drive that takes a bounce and checks up just inside the 35-yard line. So America's wondering, who is this young man who's tasked with so much tonight? Brock Glenn. Well, he was a 4-star prospect. He was in the Elite 11. ESPN had him number 17 overall. And as Mike Norvell says, he's different than any freshman I've been around.
He's talented. There's not a lot of film on him, but when I've watched, he's got a live arm. He's a really good runner. His game reminds me a little bit more of Jordan Travis than it does Tate Rodemaker. But he can do a lot of different things to hurt you as a defense.
Welcome to the big time, young man. And they're going to let him pass on the first play, and he just has to work his way back to the line of scrimmage as he was brought down that time by the interior and big number 90, Lole. Second and 9. Quickly they get it to Coleman, and Coleman is met right away. So an active Louisville defense.
Well, you're seeing the way they're trying to play the true freshman quarterback. They're loading the box. They're going to try to stop the run and make the quarterback beat him. I think if you're Ron English, the D coordinator from Louisville, you're going to be pressuring him with blitzes. Find out if this young quarterback knows where his answers are with hots and side adjustments, and see if he can be poised after you hit him a couple times early in this game.
Seven. Pressure on Glenn, and he's taken down and absolutely smothered by Storm Duck.
Storm Duck, the transfer corner from UNC's lined up over Ja'Kai Douglas off to the right side of the formation, and Brock Glenn never saw him. We talked about Ron English wanting to dial up pressure, see if you can light him up. And there's the corner pressure coming from the boundary. He uses his speed. how this young true freshman can respond after taking that shot.
Glenn sacked on third down. Mastromano, talented punter. As he skies this down, and Coleman will call for the fair catch inside the 25. That's the start for the young man. It can only go up from there. Now to get this ACC championship game going. Louisville first drive, 3 plays, 3 yards. Plummer looked left, comes back right, now pressured by Payton and has to throw it away. Patrick Payton leads the nation. Batted down passes. He's been active down the stretch of the season.
Well, we've seen early in the play calling from offensive coordinator Brian Brom of Louisville. He's trying to change things up so that number 11 and number 5 from Florida State just can't pin their ears back expecting Plummer to be 8-9 yards behind center. You saw that quick screen on third down that time, trying to change the launch point, and they're just trying to give Florida State different looks here when throwing the football so that they're not too obvious.
Of course, all-time great Louisville quarterback himself. Plummer on second down, going to take a shot downfield, and off the fingertips of Callaway. Coverage came from Cypress.
And that's a play that the Tennessee transfer Jimmy Callaway just has to make. You're going to see a lot of press man coverage when you're playing against Florida State. He beat Ventrell Cypress. That ball hits him right in the hands. Nice job by Plummer putting air under that. You're not going to get a lot of chances to hit home runs against this defense, against that pass rush. But when those opportunities present themselves, Joe, you got to hit them.
Third and 10. Pressure straight ahead. Plummer stays alive for the moment. Extends the play, but cannot connect with his tight end, Gatewood.
It was a great effort that time by Plummer. He was evading Deloach. He was evading Patrick Payton in the backfield and was able to extend it, but better coverage on the back end by Florida State here. Nice job of keeping your focus. He's able to step up. Thinks he has a completion over the middle of the field. But Akeem Dennett, safety, breaking on the ball clean. Now setting up the punt.
Second straight, 3 and out. Dangerous Keon Coleman. And he will secure it near the 31-yard line. So tomorrow we find out. Tonight determines much. The selection day, the reveal, the college football playoff. Semis are the Rose and All-State Sugar this year. And we will start getting the answers at noon Eastern on ESPN.
It's amazing, Joe, to think about other teams watching this game with as much vested and rooting interest as they would have for their own team, right? When you think about Bama and Texas and their fans watching this game tonight.
Spectacular performances by the Horns and the Tide. Here's Hill trying to find some room, but he is pushed back immediately by Storm Duck, who had the sack earlier.
You know, guys, as Brock Glenn came off the field after that first series, he was greeted by Jordan Travis, who's on the sidelines tonight on crutches. Jordan Travis's eyes got real big, and he said, first drive. Both players laughed about it. Just got to get your feet wet, buddy.
That's a great guy, though, and as a resource to have on the sideline. Imagine being a true freshman quarterback. You get to go talk to the school's statistically greatest quarterbacks ever.
Here's Coleman. Coleman trying to reverse field, and Benson out in front blocking for him. As Coleman finally, the pursuit finds him after a gain of just 2. It was Cam Kelly who came all the way in from that deep safety position.
Well, the Noles got to find a way to get one of their best players the football more. Coleman all year long has been making plays, but in these last 2 games, he only has 4 catches. Here, a quick screen and a great job in pursuit and effort by Louisville's defense, chasing him down and now setting up a critical third. On the last third down, they brought the corner blitz. They got a sack on the true freshman quarterback. What does D coordinator Ron English have dialed up here?
Third down and 7. Toafili goes nowhere. So they just hand off to Lawrance Toafili, and that is now the second straight 3 and out for this Florida State offense.
Gilbert Frierson, plays on third down, and he just did a really nice job that time, kind of getting through the wash at the line of scrimmage. Here he is right here, and he's just going to kind of work through some linemen. You got a tight end coming back across, and no one picks him up, and he's able to make the play. A very conservative play call that time by Florida State on third down, and now Louisville set up to regain possession.
Mastromano is fourth nationally in net punting. Coleman with the fair catch at the 29. We've only had 12 plays of offense between these two as the defense has been doing their job early on. Teams have had 2 drives and have combined for 12 plays that I mentioned before we went to break with 1 yard of offense. They've combined for 1 yard of offense to this point, these two. Looking for a seam, and he finds it. Jawar Jordan. And will that set a spark for Louisville as Akeem Dent finally ran him down?
Well, they got a key block by Nate Kariski at tight end on Kalen DeLoach out here. And that kind of opens up the space for Jordan to get to the outside. He's the shiftier running back in their backfield that likes to bounce it, averaging 6.4 yards a carry. Second in the conference. And finally, Louisville now doing what they want to do. This is their identity, running the ball.
Dealing with a hamstring injury throughout the season. He was so explosive earlier this year. Play action. Jack Plummer with time to wind up and take a shot. And it is incomplete as Chris Bell was waiting for it, and Jones and Green were there defensively.
Well, the successful run the play before prompts Brian Brom to go play action to see if he can freeze this secondary. And there they go with Chris Bell at 6'2", 225. He's getting behind the defense. Jack Plummer just had to put a little bit more on that ball to get it out in front of him. They missed another opportunity, Joe. That's 2 shots they've taken here in the first quarter. They had a drop on the last drive by Callaway, and that one an inaccurate throw by Plummer.
Jordan on second down as he is met and driven back by Dent. Mentioned all the experience of Jack Plummer, his 6th season of college football. Tonight his 38th start. And then the story of Brock Glenn that has come about in the last 24 hours, who was third string for most of the year with limited reps behind the superstar Jordan Travis, and then Tater Rodemaker, who is out tonight. 7. Plummer backed up and taken down by Jared Verse, his 8th sack of the season.
Florida State's running a game. They've got Fisk going right up the field, trying to get a pick on left tackle Willie Tyler, and then Verse is able to switch inside and use his speed. So it's coming here, and they're looping it around, and it's Verse that's going to make the play. Statistically, he may not be having the same year he had a year ago, Joe, but I'd argue he's a better player because he's more consistent. After a 2.5 sack performance last week, a career high against the Gators, he's already off to a big one here.
Brady Hodges already his 3rd punt of the evening. And it is short, but it takes a heck of a bounce for the Cards. This thing dribbling inside the 10-yard line.
You know, Jesse, last year when Jared Verse joined the Seminoles, he said he didn't necessarily trust his teammates or the scheme, so he'd jump out of his gap, go a little rogue, see ball, get ball. He was just trying to make plays. Adam Fuller said he looked like a bull in a china shop back then, and now he's more calculated. Verse said he had to humble himself. He said, for this group to excel, I needed to play team defense, do what my coaches asked of me, and he feels like he's been able to do that this season, even though his production might not be what it was a year ago.
Yeah, Katie, a lot of people were shocked because he was predicted to be a first-round pick last year. They were surprised he came back, but it was no doubt the right decision.
Benson just a half a yard there as Alderman with the run fit and tackle.
I think the good news, if you're Louisville and you're seeing your defense, they're playing with energy, Joe. And you had to kind of wonder about the confidence coming into the game. The last 3 games now, they've been giving up over 400 total yards per contest, and they're not playing to their standard, but the energy just seems different early in this one.
I think that loss to Kentucky last week put a fire under them. There were sloppy moments, right? The 100-yard kick return, the fumble on the scramble. They know that was there for the taking. Brock Glenn, sprint right, looking for an option. Traffic coming in, as is the boundary, as he just runs out that time with Puryear chasing him.
Well, they're trying to give him an easy read. Move the pocket, you're going to throw it to a guy. If he's not there, you got to throw it away. But there you're seeing the inexperience of Brock Glenn. As he's getting out to the right, nobody's open. You can't just run out of bounds and take a big loss. At this point right here, just chuck it way over Keon Coleman's head and save the yardage. Now, 3rd and long, backed up. You got to be really careful if you're Mike Norvell with your play call here.
With a guy who has 11 sacks coming off the edge, Ashton Gelati. 3rd and 13. Glenn gets it out quickly to Coleman. Coleman trying to slither his way for anything, and he's met at the 13-yard line. You see him grabbing his ribs at the end of that play as Devin Neal was in on the tackle.
Really impressed with both of these defenses so far. They are setting the tone. It's a slugfest right now, and they're really dictating to the opposing offense, I think, on both sides of the field.
Mastromano from a yard in his end zone could be prime field position if Kevin Coleman gets a chance at the return. Mastromano has 8 punts over 50 yards this year as he knuckles this and gets the fair catch out of Coleman. We've had 6 combined punts so far. Brock Glenn, freshman quarterback. Florida State has 1 yard of total offense. I think Texas quarterback Quinn Ewers had that in pregame. That went for 452 and 4 touchdowns today. Dorendo tackled for a loss. Left side of that line was all over him, led by DJ Lundy, the active linebacker.
Well, that time, Jack Plummer saw the safety, Akeem Dent, come down into the box to the left-hand side, so he audibled and decided to run it the other way. But Florida State right now, really good and really physical at the point of attack. Florida State likes to insert DBs into the box, add people to the count. It's going to make it harder for Louisville to run in this one.
2nd and 12. Single coverage downfield as he was trying to find Chris Bell. Taking a few deep shots early.
Listen,
Thomas was their defense.
It's a defense, Joe, that just challenges your quarterback, right? Because they play man coverage and they've got that pass rush. They're forcing you to have to throw the ball into small windows under a lot of duress. And that's why opposing quarterbacks are only completing 47% of their passes. It's the lowest in the country. And on 3rd down like this is where we said Louisville had to avoid because of number 5 on one side and number 11 on the other. And the average needed for Louisville on 3rd down in this game, Joe, is over 10 yards.
And that is not good when Verse and Payton are the edge rushers opposite you. Plummer does get time now. And he pumps again to get past Payton and then tiptoes his way trying to make the most of it out to midfield.
And this is a phenomenal effort by Patrick Payton because Jeff Brom sets this thing up and he puts the running back over to Payton's side right here. They're going to try to chip him and slow him down, and still he's able to somehow get around it and pursue the football and force Plummer to get out of bounds. That's outstanding effort that time by last year's ACC Defensive Rookie of the Year.
This is 4th down. They've converted 61% of their 4th down attempts this season. Play action off of it. Plummer hides it behind the back, and it's batted. He was trying to get it to Lifson, the tight end, but DeLoach was right in there on him.
And that is a phenomenal effort, one-on-one, by Kalen DeLoach. What athleticism at linebacker, 6'1", 212, and he had to fight through 2 different blockers and then jump up in the air to swat that one down. Joe, if he doesn't bat it, it is going to be an explosive play for Louisville. There's a deep, hard sell. You see Verse coming in, but how about Deloach knocking that one away? Otherwise, Louisville would be in business right now offensively.
This is a guy in Deloach who has made a few plays like that this year. Had a big one on a blitz against Clemson and a scoop and score. And now prime field position for Glenn in this offense. Let's see what they do with it as Trey Benson doesn't find much room on the inside. That was clogged up with Destel and Riger.
Yeah, they've got to get Benson going, no doubt. He's the total package at running back. 6'1", 225. He can break tackles, make people miss. He's got home run hitting ability. And we talked about how other players would have to elevate around the true freshman quarterback, Brock Glenn. I think number 3 for Florida State's got to have a big one.
This is their first time in Louisville territory, but it's because of the defense, not the offense. Benson taken down at the line of scrimmage yet again. They are all over the run. Jermaine Lole with the tackle.
And I wonder if Mike Norvell now has the confidence in Brock Glenn to throw something vertically down the field. We really haven't seen him do that too much yet. It's been a lot of quick screens out to the perimeter, but this is a situation where you might have to push it now. You're going to have to give him time and trust a 6'7" receiver in Johnny Wilson on one side and a 6'4" Keon Coleman to win their matchups.
Norvell told us the other day he's got a great arm. He can make all the throws. Let's see if he allows him that opportunity. Third and 8. Glenn with time drives the ball over the middle into the ground in front of Ja'Kai Douglas.
Well, that time Cameron Wilson just walked a Florida State tackle. It was Jeremiah Byers right into the lap, and I think that affected Brock Glenn. I don't think he felt like he could really step up in this throw. I think that affected the accuracy. Just threw a sinker over the middle of the field.
Fourth straight 3 and out.
It's a missed opportunity too, Joe, after getting the stop on 4th down.
Mastromano just trying to position this inside the 20, and it goes out. Prior to kickoff, we had Mike Norvell mic'd up.
Man, I love you, buddy.
Too, man.
I love you, too. I appreciate everything. 60 minutes! You're built for it! You're built for it! You're built for it! Trust your eyes, trust your feet! Trust your eyes, trust your feet! Try to get the ball in your hands early. Hey, they cannot tackle. You understand that? Mindset, own that ball. Let's go, baby! Let's go!
Well, his defense heard the let's go. His offense is trying to find themselves with a new quarterback. Jawar Jordan goes straight ahead, and he's met by Dent again.
Well, Joe, you heard Mike Norvell saying you're built for it, and he's right. Outside of that guy right there, Brock Glenn, every starter on this Florida State team is a junior or senior. They've got tremendous experience. They've played in big games, and that helps them in critical moments overcome adversity. This is just one of those games that just feels like they're going to have to be able to do that again.
This is Coleman. And he's driven down on 2nd and 8 by Lundy. It'll be 3rd and about 3.
It's one of the hardest things, I think, about stopping this Louisville rushing attack, Joe. They've got so many schemes running the ball. There's zone schemes. They pull guys. There's jet sweeps. There's quarterback runs, speed option, I formation. As we see an injury right now, Byron Turner down for Florida State.
Byron Turner, who's a reserve defensive end, plays behind Patrick Payton. Of course, that dynamic 1-2. Both defenses have been so solid. Jesse, this is such a unique challenge with Brock Glenn in a spot like this. I put you back to your playing career. Could you imagine, with it all on the line, a day of college football that we just had, and you're sitting here as a true freshman, and you get the tap on the shoulder.
Oh, man.
Hey, young man, it's on you tonight.
No, listen, I started as a true freshman in Florida, but never in a game of this significance. And you got to think about his mindset and what you're trying to tell him if you're Mike Norvell, right? You don't have to be the hero in this game and do everything by yourself. It would be natural for him to want to come out, prove to the world watching just how good you are, just why you were recruited the way you are. You want to be on the Sports Center top 10 highlights, but when you start pressing, generally bad things happen. He's got to remember, he's got a really good defense. He's got to remember he's got a lot of NFL talent on offense, and they're going to play special teams. He just needs to be the facilitator, manage this game, not turn it over, and give them a chance to win.
Go through the history of the college football playoff. No undefeated Power 5 team has been left out of the playoff. You go to the COVID year. Ohio State was 6-0. They were in.
Played 6 games.
It's never happened. But you got Texas fans. You got Bama fans whose teams are absolutely peaking, look magnificent in winning championships today. Watching this game now with great interest. 3rd and 2, Plummer goes to the outside, incomplete, too far to the outside of Jimmy Callaway.
There's just never anybody wide open. Fentrell Cypress did a great job there on the double move. The guy's faking like he's going to the slant, puts his foot in the ground and runs back out. And they've had so many impactful portal additions. Fentrell Cypress was a second-team All-ACC player for Virginia a year ago. And life right now on Jack Plummer, the pass rush in the secondary, they're making it very hard on him.
Brady Hodges, who took over as the team's starting punter the last 5 games, is going to have a sore leg at the end of this first quarter. His 4th punt of the night. Coleman is driven back in the fair catch around the 22-yard line. Well, Brock Glenn did get playing time a few weeks ago against North Alabama. Completed 2 or 3 passes for 35 yards. Did have an 11-yard rushing touchdown in the 4th quarter. That was his first score of his career.
And that's important, Joe, because he has that ability on the zone read runs. And we were asking their coaching staff, how much do you want to run him in this game? You want to take advantage of the legs? They said, yeah, but he's our 3rd quarterback.
Right.
We've got to limit the hits on him. We need him to play this game. So if you're Mike Norvell, you may not be able to take advantage of his legs as much as you would have liked to.
Here they go with the screen game as he's able to get it to Johnny Wilson. Johnny Wilson, the big 6'7", supreme athlete, but they converge on him for a gain of 2. It's Devin Neal again.
And Louisville right now just feels like with every possession.
By the way, Florida State was involved in the other one against Duke, and they ended up scoring 45 points in that game.
Well, they had Jameis Winston at quarterback.
That's a little different than what we're seeing here.
Yeah.
2nd and 8 as Benson gets the work. And they're waiting on him time and again. Moments ago, Katie caught up with Coach.
Coach Brom, defensive first quarter. You were having a conversation with Jack Plummer as he came off the field. What were you telling him?
Well, I think we missed a couple deep shots. Really, one we dropped, one we underthrew. So we got to hit those. And then they're going to cover us. They're good defense. They're going to stop the run. We got to be able to step up. And he's not there. He's got to be able to run the ball, mix it up with his feet. But just got to hang in there, keep taking care of the ball. We just got to find ways to create plays.
Thank you.
3rd down and 7. Glenn with time, and there's the flag as he was looking for big Johnny Wilson.
I think they're going to get the Florida State transfer, Jarvis Brownlee, in the back end.
Interference. Defense number 2. 15-yard penalty, automatic, first down.
That's the problem when you're going up against Johnny Wilson. He's 6'7". I mean, it's just so hard to physically match up with him. And every DB is so afraid he's going to run down the field and try to high point the football. You see the release, there's some tugging, there's some pulling. You know, it looked like a bit of a push off there at the end by Johnny Wilson, but, I think there was more on the end of Jarvis Brownlee, and that gives Florida State a fresh set of downs.
They'll take it any way they can get it right now. Here's Hill. And Hill able to keep his balance for just a moment. Ron English is the defensive coordinator for Louisville. You see him there. He's a semifinalist for the Boyles Award. #1 run defense in the ACC, Jesse.
Well, and they change up their fronts. They challenge you. They play a bare front sometimes where they basically line up a defender over every offensive lineman, making it very hard to get double teams.
Glenn is split out. And Toafili is in the backfield. And Toafili is wiggling his way for that line to gain, and he gets it out to the 45-yard line, met by Destel there.
Yeah, it's nice patience there because you got Dimitri Emmanuel at left guard, and he's going to be pulling, and you sort of have to let the block set itself up. It's a little wrinkle there with the Wildcat look, getting better numbers in the blocking game.
And now some tempo. And Glenn's going to pass. And the freshman extending the play, pumping, tucking, running. And you talk wanting to take a hit and how they utilize him, he didn't slide there.
Yeah, he's got to know to take care of himself and to get down when he gets outside. They need him in this game, and I understand he wants to make every play, but that's a big shot here in the second quarter for the true freshman quarterback. He can't take too many more of those.
250-pound Mason Reiger was tracking him down at the end of that play. A run for 7 yards. They split him out again. So now they're looking to make the change-up and find this offensive gear any way they can. Toafili with the direct snap, playing Wildcat. Campbell in the backfield with him on 2nd and 3. Searching for a lane and finding it for another first down.
Yeah, again, more patient running. And they're pulling linemen that time to guard and tackle from the backside, getting more blockers at the point of attack. You know, it was hard for them just to run it conservatively earlier before, but now pulling these two guys backside, you fake the handoff, and this has probably been the best looking their offense has been so far in this game. It's been the Wildcat.
Glenn. He's going to run straight ahead. This time he does slide, and a flag does come in at the end there. And could this be targeting based on what you just saw?
Yeah, Quincy Riley kind of came in late for Louisville's defense. I think Ashton Gelati was there as well. That time, good job getting down and sliding, right? That's a good sign if you're Florida State. Your young guy is learning.
After the play, personal foul on Mr. Ruff's defense, number 9. 59 points of the attitude in the run. First down.
You know, I thought you might hear targeting there based on the question of forcible contact to the head or neck area of a defenseless opponent, which Brock Glenn was in that situation there going to the ground.
Let's bring in our rules expert, Matt Austin. What do you say?
Well, this is a close one. He does come in. He gets it. Looks like there's contact to the shoulder, but it looks like his head does get into the head of the quarterback a little bit. So this could be an interesting call if they stop the game.
First down for Florida State at the 24-yard line of Louisville. A little bit of everything to advance the ball.
Play is under further review for potential targeting.
Matt, let's stick with you here. What's the procedure? Take us through it as they review this for targeting.
Well, it's a sliding quarterback, so obviously he is a defenseless player. So now what you have to have is an attack with forcible contact to the head or neck area. I think you do have an attack. He is coming in trying to deliver a blow. He does make contact to the head. So by textbook, I think this is targeting, but it's not the toughest one or the hardest hit I've ever seen. But I think by rule, it's a target.
You know, it's tough, too, because Ashton Gelati's hitting him from behind, which actually forces Brock Glenn's head to go down. I don't think the intent from Quincy Riley coming in was to hit him in the head. I think he was actually trying to go lower than that to hit him in the chest, but I think it was the contact from behind right there that forces his head to dip like that, and that's where the forcible contact comes in by Quincy Riley. If it is, in fact, targeting on Quincy Riley and he's forced to miss the rest of the game, guys, that's a big loss for this Louisville defense because he is their best corner. He's a guy that they like to leave on islands, and against Johnny Wilson and Keon Coleman, they need that guy right there in the game. He's been a big-time player for this defense.
Jesse, to that point, you look through at a few of the critical moments for Louisville this year. He was the defensive back in coverage on 4th down against Miami, and that forced the incompletion to seal that game.
That's right.
He was the defensive back in the closing minutes against NC State, who picked off a pass to win that game 13-10. So critical moments, it's been Quincy Riley.
Further review, there is no targeting on the play. Over the late hit from Mr. Ruffus will still be enforced. First down.
So to your point, very fortunate for Louisville that he stays in.
That's a big win for Louisville's defense now, especially with Florida State inching this football closer down into Louisville territory. And I wonder if you're Mike Norvell and Florida State, how much more Wildcat you're going to employ, because on this drive that has been working.
First down at the 24-yard line. Play action. Glenn was chased down from behind by Heron and then threw the ball away.
There's another bear look by Louisville. Everybody is covered one-on-one, and they're trying to pull this guy to get this rush off the edge, and it's just too slow. It's too slow developing to deal with the speed by Louisville. That time, Stephen Herron, who missed their game last week against Kentucky to Stanford transfer, making a nice play in the backfield.
Young man from Covington, Tennessee, who came in with only 4 college passes. 2nd and 10. 4-man rush against the freshman. Glenn with traffic right in his face, and he threw it into all of it.
Man, he had Herron that time, bearing down on him again from the backside. He's lucky that ball didn't get stripped out of his hand for a fumble. On the inside, it was Jared Dawson who was able to get in front of that and knock this one down. But watch Herron here on the outside. If he got his arm out there, that was barely stripped.
Threw it right into the helmet of Dawson.
Wow.
Brock Glenn thrown the ball 7 times, 12 yards. He's been sacked twice.
Joe, it's a big moment now for the young quarterback because you're in field goal range, right? This is a defensive struggle. Points obviously are going to be at a premium. They're not going to be easy to come by. So you cannot take a negative play here. You can't take a sack. Obviously, you can't force it into coverage. If it's not there, just run, get what you can get, or throw this thing away.
Well, 3 points are going to be very valuable tonight. The way these defenses are playing and the limitations with the quarterbacks. Oh, he snapped it right into him as he was walking to the line. And think about the lack of reps and communication with the #1 offensive line as Maurice Smith, the veteran center, just snapped it as the freshman quarterback was walking forward.
A great point, Joe. It's the simple things you take for granted and execution, just getting plays called and getting them snapped properly. It looked like Glenn wanted to go to the line of scrimmage and change the play, change the protection, and I don't think Maurice Smith was expecting that. They narrowly avoided disaster again.
So Fitzgerald comes on for the 45-yard attempt. And a breakthrough moment here tonight. We have points. Florida State, 3-zip, thanks to Ryan Fitzgerald's field goal. Drive just went 11 plays. Their first 4 drives combined for 12 plays. Off the bounce at the 11-yard line, Garendo.
Well, Joe, Florida State's defense has been lights out so far in this one. Stopping the run, Braden Fisk very early in this game, setting the tone, tackle for loss. He set up obvious pass situations. Jared Verse can go to work. On the stunt, working inside for the sack. And then we saw a big play here recently. A big play fake, trying to get to the outside on 4th down. Deloach is able to swat it away. And so far, this Knowles defense has only given up 32 total yards.
Adam Fuller, the defensive coordinator, they were great against Florida down the stretch there. Only gave up 48 yards in the last 30 minutes of that game to the Gators. There's the read by Plummer, and he's going to lose a yard. That entire defensive line with big Braden Fisk converging on him.
It's perfect zone read defense that time by Florida State because you got somebody taking the running back here inside, and then Bethune at linebacker is replacing it. So he's in place to take Plummer on the zone read. They're a very, very sound and well-coached defense. Not just Adam Fuller, but his entire staff.
Doesn't have anywhere to go.
Well, you're trying to move the pocket. You're trying to get running backs and tight ends to chip, and just nothing seems to be working right now for Jeff Brom calling plays for this Louisville offense. And here you are again in another 3rd and long situation. And this is when Florida State's defense, they're like sharks that smell blood in the water. This is where number 5 right there, Jared Verse, these guys are just going to pin their ears back, use their speed and athleticism to get upfield.
We don't have a 3rd down conversion in this game. 3rd and 11. Safety blitz as he sets up the screen to Jordan. Blockers in front. Jordan's got the 1st down and then goes high, hurtling up and away right over Greedy Vance.
Well, Shyheim's Browns coming on a safety blitz right here. And this offensive line is just going to invite the pass rush up the field. This is a perfect play call by
Jordan. And good late drive now from Jawar Jordan as he finds his way to midfield right through Tatum Bethune.
He does a good job of running with power. He's 5'10", 180 pounds, but stronger than you think. And he's able to kind of get himself and squeeze himself into very small areas. It's been so impressive watching him play this year. He's a first-team all-conference running back. Syracuse transfer, man. He's shown up time and time again for Louisville's offense.
He went for 143 on that magical night against Notre Dame back in October. Had a 45-yard and 21-yard touchdown run. Nothing happening there as Bethune makes up for it with the tackle down the line. He's second on the team in tackles.
So we get another third down situation, but this time, Joe, finally it's manageable.
That's right.
I mean, Jeff Brom's playbook right now is wide open to really try a lot of different things. Running the football is not out of the element here, and because of that, you wonder if Florida State's going to still want to blitz. They've been doing it on third down, but this is one they may play a little bit more vanilla.
3rd and 3. Plummer to pass on 3rd and 3. Shallow cross is incomplete. Chris Bell had a defender trailing and one coming in front. And there you see Jerrion Jones, who leads the team in picks.
And that was a really nice job by him in the slot, kind of fighting through the wash. They're trying to set picks and screens and make it difficult to follow the receiver, but he was able to do it. Watch this right here. He's just able to kind of come down. He's able to avoid his own teammate. That was Tatum Bethune at linebacker and still get in. It's just been that kind of game for Jack Plummer so far, Joe. Just 2 of 11 throwing so far.
We had our first third down conversion of the game, but still another visit from Brady Hodges. His 5th punt, looking to pin inside the 10, and it does take a favorable bounce for Louisville. It was a heck of a return. What's been a spectacular day of college football. Jesse and Katie with you here at the ACC Championship game in Charlotte. 3-0 Noles trying to stay undefeated, trying to do so with the guy who's been their number 3 quarterback all season long, Brock Glenn. First start of his college career. Benson somehow stayed alive and got out of the tackle of Quinn for a moment.
Guys, starting center Maurice Smith briefly spoke with Brock Glenn after the miscommunication on the snap. It's worth noting Smith was a game-time decision tonight. He got rolled up at Florida last Saturday, limped his way through. He had some hurdles to overcome this week to get healthy enough to play in tonight's game. Makes you wonder how many reps the two got together this week in practice.
Well, even throughout the year, of course.
They've had major injury issues up front on this offensive line all year, Katie. 5 different starting lineups in the season.
Katie, it's a very good point in terms of how much work Smith and Glenn have been able to get, if at all. 2nd and 7. Benson straight ahead. Good run. It'll be 3rd and short from there as Minkins was in on the tackle along with Brownlee.
And it's such a challenge calling the game, right, if you're Mike Norvell with Brock Glenn in, because you're just trying to simplify things for him, and you just want to call plays that he's going to leave on and run, regardless of what the front is, regardless of what the coverage is or what the personnel is. If Louisville's the test, you want to give Brock Glenn yes and no answers, not multiple choice, but to do that, you got to limit your play sheet so much. It's so different than when Jordan Travis is out on the field.
Florida State is looking for their first down. We have 6.5 minutes to play until halftime, and that is it right there with Benson.
Well, and we've been watching Brock Glenn early in this game. He's done some good things. He's also shown his inexperience. Early in the game here, there's nothing open downfield. You got to throw this one away, not run out of bounds. Protection hasn't always been great. Wasn't able to step up on that 3rd down play. And then we saw the communication error that Katie was just talking about with center Maurice Smith. Mike Norvell just looking at that play card, and he's trying to think, what concepts does my young quarterback feel comfortable with?
He's going to run the ball here. Quarterback run, and he slides and just get down in time before Minkins arrives.
I mean, and I like the play call, honestly. I understand you want to protect him, but you've got to win this game first and foremost. You got everything that's on the line. You got a playoff potentially on the line, and your young quarterback's been showing you now he's learning this whole sliding thing. The last 2 times he's been able to get down, but wildcat runs and quarterback runs, that could pay big dividends for Mike Norvell as this game goes on.
Action off of this. Takes a shot and gets it. Oh, that should have been caught from Coleman. The one time when Glenn has a pitch and catch, and it's Keon Coleman who can't secure it.
Man, they faked the quarterback run. That froze everybody in the secondary for Louisville. And Keon Coleman, with his frame and his body control, he's got to make that catch. Brock Glenn paid for it, too. Big shot off the edge by Jared Dawson.
And Jordan Travis says that was there.
Oh.
3rd and 6. Sold it well after the first quarterback run. And now a timeout is going to be used by Mike Norvell and the Noles. 5:05 to go until halftime. A field goal lead and 6 for the Noles.
Louisville in that bare front again, covering up, and they shift out of it to an even front.
Glenn on 3rd and 6. Gets it to the outside, and it's caught by Wilson. And Johnny Wilson at 6'7", stretching out and getting the first down for Florida State.
A fantastic job by Glenn, seeing the matchup he wants. 6'7" with long arms, really good coverage by Florida State transfer Jarvis Brownlee, but there's no defense for a perfect throw. You're putting it on his back shoulder. That's a great sign for Florida State's offense on a big 3rd down conversion.
Longest play of the game for the Noles, 19 yards. Toafili trying to work behind his tight end, Kyle Morlock, as he goes for 5.5.
I think it's completions like on that last play, Joe, if you're Brock Glenn. It's just even little things like that. 3rd down conversions, that just helps your confidence. Remember, he's seeing so many things for the first time. He only had 4 pass attempts on the entire year coming into this one, so he's literally learning on the fly. And he's going up against a really good Louisville defense.
Came in last week in that 4th quarter of Florida when Rodemaker was knocked out of the game for a few plays. Now get this major assignment. Toafili can't find anything on that right side as he's tackled for a 1-yard loss by Alderman.
All right, if you're Louisville on defense now, another 3rd down, you got to be thinking, we're going to lock up, we're going to have big targets. Johnny Wilson coming back over now to the left side of the formation where he was on the last play. He's going to be lined up against Jarvis Brownlee, one-on-one. And because Glenn had the success in the last 3rd down, is he going to go back to the single receiver side here again to number 14?
Bunch to the top. Big Wilson to the bottom of your screen. 3rd and 6, and now they bring Coleman over to the slot on the near side as the number 2 receiver there. Glenn going to take a shot downfield, wants all of it, and nearly got it from Coleman, but he was juggling the ball as he strided out.
Joe, I think if he had caught it the first time, I think that would have been a completion, but there was a little bit of a bobble right at the end of this. Glenn gave him a chance to locate it. He did. If it sticks there, that's going to be a catch. But there's a bobble, and nice coverage on the back end by Quincy Riley.
Listen, it would have been a spectacular stab by Coleman, but to your point, that foot would have been down if he secured it immediately. Of course, Coleman had the drop earlier. That was an easy one. 4th and 6, Mastromano taking his time, rolling his 5th punt already of this first half. Fair catch at the 8-yard line by Coleman. So much on the line from here in Charlotte to Austin and Tuscaloosa. Grand intuition from Dr. Pepper. Oh, we've got Horns fans here in Charlotte. Jesse, what a performance in winning the Big 12.
I think Big Al and Bevo are tuned in somewhere right now, watching very, very carefully.
When Ewers' spectacular games, Texas just mauled Oklahoma State to win the Big 12 as they head off to the SEC. And then Alabama breaking through against Georgia, snapping that win streak in an absolute thriller to win the SEC championship. Plummer trying to get the ball out to that line to gain, and does so to Jamari Thrash.
That was really nice. Really nice with the location on the throw. Thrash doing a nice job on the curl, coming back to the ball, and then Plummer putting doing it where only he could make the catch. Did he make the catch?
Well, the arms are underneath the ball.
It looked like he did to me.
Garendo straight ahead, and he can only get a yard against Fabian Lovett at 320 pounds.
You're not seeing a lot of Louisville receivers separate so far in the passing game. They only had 23 passing yards before that completion of Crash. So I think you got to start doing some things. You got to start getting guys in motion. You got to start stack releasing receivers, trying to get some access and some space so that you can work downfield against this Florida State secondary.
It's elite talent on that Florida State defense, and they know their task tonight with the limitations of their offense. 2nd and 8, play action. Plummer with time, quick to the outside. His man was bottled up that time as Thomas had coverage on Callaway.
Yeah, that was tight. They were trying to go back to another pivot route. That time in the back end, Azarie Thomas there. You see him, he's working the comeback, and there's a bit of a tug. That to me, that's got to be defensive holding or PI.
And watch on the shoulder. You could see it clearly as Thomas, our rules expert Matt Austin, giving us the nod, saying, I agree. But instead, it's a 3rd and 8. Plummer just 3 of 13 passing against the Noles tonight. 3rd and 8, 4-man rush. And he cannot navigate any space in the pocket, and he is sacked as it was Verse and Fisk getting Plummer.
And they're working that same game that they worked earlier in the game when they got a sack. So this time it's Verse going inside and it's Fisk coming around the outside. And I know, again, we talk a lot about Verse. We talk a lot about Peyton, but Braden Fisk, the Western Michigan transfer, has had such an impact on this defense. Against the run, he's a guy that's going to play on Sundays. And this front right now for Florida State, it's like they understand. They're calling a timeout here on Florida State. But with a true freshman quarterback in, they understand they have a very small margin for error. And they're playing lights out up to this point.
And with the timeout, a chance to say hello to Kevin and Boog. Gentlemen.
Tess, good evening. Capital One halftime report minutes away. Booger McFarland, Kevin Nagandi here with you. So we got Texas winning.
Yeah.
We've got Alabama winning.
Yeah.
We've got Georgia losing. And watching this game as a defensive guy, you'd be like, oh, this is great. You see a lot of issues with the offense.
Yeah, see, Florida State, they got to open it up for their quarterback. They're in a conundrum here because the best thing that Block Green does is run the football.
Yeah.
But he's their 3rd quarterback. If he gets hurt, Jesse may be playing quarterback. Who knows?
Jesse can sling it. Back to you, Tess.
Well, this is a knuckler of a punt by Hodges. Came off the foot wrong as Brady Hodges was quickly trying to get it off. As that only goes for 24 yards. Watch Hodges. That's off the side of the foot.
Yeah.
Didn't get big on big. You want big on big, the bottom of the ball to the big bone in the foot, and that was off to the right side.
And this is a great opportunity now for Florida State now to get some more points. And remember, they're going to get the ball back first here in the second half. So they would love to see some of this momentum with this great field position after the bad punt. And to Boog and Nagandi's point, I mean, I could throw a few screens. I could hand off a few draw plays, too. Still got that in my back pocket. But it's limited.
And it's a hit you don't want to take.
I do not.
It's a great field position from the 38 of Louisville after the bad punt. Glenn trying to set up the screen to Benson. Blockers in front, and here goes Trey. And it's a first down for Florida State.
Well, it's a really nice play design here because you're faking the receiver screen over to the left, and then you're sneaking Lyman out this way, getting him in behind. There's going to be the pump fake left, trying to get the fast flow from Louisville, and then throw the screen back. High percentage, give your quarterback an easy decision.
Benson straight ahead, taking a defender for a ride for a couple yards, and Stephen Herron.
It's a big moment for Louisville's defense, too. Can they just hang on, right? They've played so well up to this point with their backs against the wall now down in the red zone, where they've been so good all year. They've got to be big. Zero blitz look here.
Glenn looks right. And then he is taken down back at the 29-yard line. That was Alderman breaking through.
Yeah, Ron English is not going to sit back and be patient calling plays defensively. He is trying to light the true freshman quarterback up, and that time Herron was able to get home around the outside. They brought a linebacker blitz, which blowed up the running back as well. And they're just trying to dictate to Brock Glenn at this point, forcing him to know where his answers are in the hots and sighted game, and it's been difficult so far.
TJ Quinn, the starting linebacker for Louisville, was slow to get up at the end of that play, and now walking it off back to the Louisville sideline. Want to remind you that this week, Monday Night Football, you got the Bengals and the Jags, 8 Eastern on ESPN and ABC. The Mannings will be on E2. And tomorrow on Sunday NFL Countdown, revenge on the minds of the 49ers and their matchup with the Eagles. That is just before the CFP teams are revealed. That is going to be fascinating.
Jacksonville hasn't played on Monday Night Football in 12 years.
No.
Did you know that?
Got to win.
Well, they're good now, and they've won 7 of their last 8. Okay, right here, if you're Brock Glenn at Florida State, the coaching staff is telling him, on this third down, we're in field goal range. Expect blitz from Louisville. They're going to try to back us out of field goal range. They just got us on a blitz. They're probably going to dial another one up here. So let's be smart. Let's understand where our answers are. Let's maybe call some plays to make this easy on it.
But to your point, you've been stressing, you don't have to be a hero.
No.
This is paint by numbers.
Especially the way their defense is playing right now. You just got to be smart if you're Brock Glenn, but you're expecting the heat.
Let's see if they come after the true freshman. 3rd and 12. Glenn. Oh, and he nearly takes the sack before throwing it away. As they're looking to see, was there a receiver in the vicinity? And they're coming in and counseling, led by referee Mike Roach, heading up this ACC prime team. He says there was a receiver in the area as Jeff Clark was trying to get to him.
Well, that time it wasn't a blitz. They showed it, but they were running a bunch of stunts up front. And it was Jeff Clark that was able to get home and get the hit. Really good pressure these last several plays by Louisville's defense, now setting up a long field goal.
Ryan Fitzgerald made from 45 earlier. This from 45 now. And he misses it. Jeff Brom's team dodges that one. That was a golden opportunity for Florida State with that field position before halftime.
Joe, you can't say enough about Louisville's defense. You just had a bad punt. You give them the football at midfield in great field position, as you mentioned, and you're able to step up and make some plays. It looked like Florida State was driving. You create some negative plays and set up a long field goal here. And Fitzgerald's not able to hit, and Mike Norvell knows it. There's the react. You know, there's momentum is a real thing in college football, and that was a big swing for Louisville here going in at halftime.
Every point is going to count tonight. I mean, it could take just one free play, bounce the ball, return, a special team. Turnover, just one freak outlier play.
No doubt.
Could win this football game with the limitations of these offenses that we're seeing tonight in the exceptional defensive play. Plummer, he's being chased again as he has to dump it. Ball is out! And Jordan falls back on it. Jawar Jordan took a big hit that time. Ball came out, but he jumps on it and recovers it.
Very lucky. Azaria Thomas was the one who popped it free, and then Akeem Dent looked like he was going to pounce on it at safety. You know, I'm curious. I was going to say, I'm a little surprised at how aggressive Louisville is being here on offense. Instead of maybe just trying to play to go into halftime down 3-0 based on how well your defense is. But against this pass rush, you got to be careful.
The timeout is going to be used by Louisville. Let's dig into the Aflac trivia question, shall we? We mentioned this earlier in terms of Florida State being in the ACC championship game. Our last ACC championship was right here in Charlotte in 2014. Jess, we asked you, who was the MVP?
Well, the obvious answer, you'd think Jameis Winston.
Of course.
That's what you'd think.
Yeah, go with it.
Well, yeah, but the Aflac trivia question sets you up. I mean, he had a lot of NFL talent around him on that offense, too, yeah?
Jordan straight ahead. Good run from Jordan. It may be coming back as that penalty flag was called in the area of holding as Fabian Lovett, the defensive tackle for Florida State, is signaling
that. It's going to be a hold on Brian Hudson, their center, an award-winning center who's got his hands full in this game.
Yeah, Brian Hudson, who won the ACC's Jacobs blocking trophy for the most outstanding blocker in the conference.
Couldn't get it done against Fabian Lovett.
Offense number 61. 10-yard penalty, second down.
was the MVP of that ACC championship back in the day?
Not Jameis Winston.
Not Jameis Winston is the answer. It's Dalvin Cook.
Dalvin Cook. Yeah. Those were some pretty good offenses Jimbo was calling plays for back in the day.
That is the answer to your Aflac trivia question.
That was a critical penalty, too, by Louisville there because Jordan sparks it. He gets it close to midfield, and it kind of changes your mindset, I think, if you're Jeff Brom, to be more aggressive. But now at this point, I think you're just trying to get out of Dodge, get in at halftime, down 3 points, and regroup.
That is exactly what they will do.
Takes its second time out of the half.
Louisville's going to take a timeout with 3 seconds remaining in this incredibly painful offensive first half. Fewest combined points in a first half in ACC championship game history. They had 6 back in 2005 and 6. And Louisville decides that, you know what, with that kind of a first half we have right here, let's just milk a few more moments out of it.
I think that's the right decision.
Jesse, these two teams, now listen, give some credit to the defenses, especially the Florida State defense that has been superb. These two teams have combined for 10 first downs. 10 first downs. And 11 punts. We got 10 first downs. We got 11 punts. That's what you're dealing with in the ACC.
There's some people out there, Joe, that love special teams. What's wrong with 11 punts? You're right, though. Only 138 yards of total offense so far. The team that wins this game in the second half is going to be the team that runs the ball the best, takes care of the ball the best, and makes a play in special teams.
So I know there are those who say, hey, the eye test, who's the best team? Boy, this Florida State offense with the number 3 quarterback is struggling. But the defense is playing at a college football playoff level.
Question for the committee, Joe. No doubt it wouldn't hurt Florida State to score a few more points here. I think style points are starting to matter a little bit more if you're the Seminoles.
Yep, Alabama has the best win in the season. It happened today in winning the SEC championship. Texas has the win against Alabama. The college football playoff rankings brought to you by AT&T.
Yeah, what Alabama did was so impressive against that Georgia team. And obviously Michigan in control right now at Iowa. Washington with the win last night. They're going to get in. And so the big debate right now, is it Florida State, is it Texas, or is it Alabama taking the 2 final spots? And the next 30 minutes of this football game is ultimately going to determine that one way or the other for the committee.
Seemingly all week long, the thought was this is a simple win and you're in for Florida State. Brock Glenn pitches it out to Coleman. Coleman takes an in-cut and gets 9 yards on the play.
This little backyard ball by Brock Glenn there on his zone read with an attachment. Normally you would actually just throw that conventionally. He just pitched it out like a triple option. Fake the handoff to Benson, get to the outside. Safety's taking it away. He makes the right decision, getting it to Coleman. That's a good start to this drive.
First career college start. Came into this game having thrown only 4 passes. He was 7 of 13 in the first half. Glenn extending the play. Could be a holding as he runs the ball and runs it well at past midfield before he slides down, but most likely we're walking it back.
Yeah, it's going to be Keandre Jones playing at right guard. That's an easy call.
Holding. Offense number 75. 10-yard penalty. Second down.
I think he's working against Jermaine Lole right here in the middle. You'll just see him just kind of grab him with his right arm right there in the jersey, and that's just too easy.
Of course, Florida State trying to play a mistake-free game because of the situation with limitations of offense. They had no penalties in that first half. That's the first.
But it's a good point, too, Joe. All year long, not turning it over is critical to their success. They've only given it away 5 times all season. That's the least in the nation. And that's got to continue here in the second half if they're going to win this game.
Win and we're in, it reads. But there's a lot of chatter elsewhere in college football tonight. 2nd and 11. Try to set up the screen. Does so with Benson, who stiff arms his way for making the most of it past Gelati.
Yeah, but Alderman, a linebacker, made a really nice play kind of sniffing that out. And I think this is Ron English and Louisville's defense now expecting high percentage throws, screens, things that are easy for Brock Glenn to compete, and they're playing downhill. They're a little bit more aware aggressive 3rd and long situation. There's a blitz look again.
3rd down and 9. Glenn to the outside. Wilson cannot hold on to it.
It was the right decision. At the end of the second quarter, they converted a 3rd down on a play just like that. The throw was a little bit low. That time going to Johnny Wilson. Louisville changed up its coverage pattern. That time Storm Duck was out there one-on-one. He did a great job against the 6'7" target. That's a good first series for Louisville's defense.
Offset formation for Mastromano and the punt team. And they will snap out of that as he will kick to that coverage side. Didn't get it outside the hash, but great downfield coverage that time. Katie.
Tash, Jess, as you could imagine, Jeff Brom is pleased with his defensive play. Offense, not so much. He said Florida State is covering us really well. They're tied up on us. He said we have to find a way to find separation and win one-on-one matchups in the second half. He said they're stuffing us really good. We got to block. Jack Plummer needs completions to get into a rhythm here so that they can find ways to make plays. Easier said than done, guys, against this defensive front, though.
Jesse, how do you get that separation?
We talked about it. You got to use motions, and you got to stack receivers behind one another to give yourself some access and freedom in green grass to go run. There's been virtually none of that early for what's been mostly a stationary offense.
Plummer, as Verse tracks him down.
No, you're just not going to outrun him with Jack Plummer. He's not Lamar Jackson, obviously, and they try to run him a little bit to force you to honor him, but you're not going to outrun a first-round pick defensive end. Jared Verse, great job changing direction. And just watch, like into the boundary, he's 260 pounds, but that was easy.
Top 3 defensive end in next year's draft, according to Mel Kiper, is Jared Verse with a sensational backstory. He was an undersized recruit at SUNY Albany and now one of the most dominant edge players in major college football. Short pitch on 2nd and 11 to Jordan, and Jordan only gets a couple of yards, unable to turn the corner fully.
So now if you're Louisville and you're Jeff Brom calling plays, you've got to find your number 1 matchup, right? Who's going to win against man-to-man coverage? That's what you're anticipating right here. Florida State's not going to stop doing it because they've had success all game long. So Jamari Thrash all season has been that guy for this Louisville offense. He's been the most sudden, the most explosive. There's a time that he needs to step up right there and make a play.
He's been playing with a brace on his left hand, had surgery a few weeks ago. Third and 8. They're going to run option. Jordan on the pitch, and Jordan's going to have the first down for the Cards.
That's a really nice design in the speed option. We talked about that being a changeup. They're going to put Patrick Payton on and on. They're not even going to block him. They're just going to attack him, force him to commit, and then pitch it outside. Really nice job. Into the boundary. You see this once or twice every game from Louisville's offense, and Jordan with the speed to the outside.
Now they go reverse to a flea flicker. Back to Plummer, and he's got to go underneath to a screen, and they do so with Coleman, who spins free for a first down and more. Did he stay in? Extra yardage, Kevin Coleman. A little razzle-dazzle and a flag at the end of it.
This is my new favorite trick play in college football. It's the double pass screen. Everybody's thinking you're throwing it way down the field.
Illegal block in the back. Offense, number 1. 10-yard penalty from the spot of the foul. First down.
It's Jamari Thrash who's going to get called for holding on that, and that's a big mistake for Louisville's offense. But look at all these linemen getting out to the left. And right now, everyone on Florida State's defense is thinking he's throwing a post, he's throwing a go. We got to turn around and go locate where the guy is. Really, he's just throwing a simple screen with about 5 linemen out in front of it. You saw Thrash just get caught up there on the outside. He's working against Ventrell Cypress, a little push, and then a little grab. He didn't need it in the back of the jersey.
They're going to spot it at the 40-yard line and a first down from there. Going to throw back to the screen, tunnel it to Thrash, and Thrash gets to the outside past midfield as he is brought down by Brown.
And that's a great way to get him the ball, right? We talked about him being subtle. Little misdirection, rolling out to the right, get the fast flow of Florida State going the same way, and throw the screen to the other side of the field for the Georgia State transfer to just go to work. A lot of creativity here from Jeff Brom in this first drive of the second half, Joe.
All of a sudden, a burst of offense from Louisville. 11 yards from Thrash. push again.
This is like the good and bad, right?
Yeah.
There was a holding penalty on the long trick play, and then you do a nice job on the screen getting the first down, and then a false start. You've got to dial in.
And that was the point of emphasis this week of just, don't do it to ourselves after what we did last week against Kentucky.
This defense, Joe, the margin of error is so small. Yards are hard to come by against the Seminoles.
Plummer on first down. Verse. He gets past him, and then Plummer scoots out of bounds.
A good idea by Plummer, running the ball against man coverage. A lot of people in Florida State's back end here are chasing receivers. They've got their eyes turned, and they're not looking at number 13. So he realizes that when he sees the lane, he's a good enough athlete that time to beat Verse to the sideline and go get positive yards. Good decision by the 6th-year quarterback.
Formation on 2nd and 8 with Jordan behind Martin. Play action off of it, but here come the Noles. Plummer able to get it complete to Martin, the fullback.
He's a 260-pound battery ram. They barely ever throw him the ball. I think everybody from Florida State, when they saw him come in the game and get in an I formation, and they're thinking, okay, it's lead block. Deloach is getting ready to take on a hit, but he's able to kind of sneak out. Nice escapability that time by Plummer. Not a perfect throw, a nice grab by the 260-pound big fella.
Plummer. Ball is batted away by Renardo Green. He was looking for Thompson.
And he's been so good all year for Florida State. Think back to that first game against LSU. He's up against Malik Neighbors. I'm not going to say he shut him down, but he controlled him against the leading receiver in the country. There's some holding there going on for sure, but the referees are letting these guys hand fight in the back end. I think it's another one you easily could have called PI. But if they're going to let that one go, then on the flip side, they've got to give that to the other offense too.
Matt Austin, our rules expert, was just chiming in saying, I think that may have been PI.
I do too.
2nd and 10. There's the quick strike on the slanted thrash, and another first down for Louisville.
That's one of the few times that Florida State has dropped out playing zone and have given these guys some access. You see that time? It's Renardo Green bailing out, and a nice decision there by Plummer.
And now some tempo out of Louisville. Jordan straight ahead, just a yard that time. Patrick Payton with the tackle. And what do we have here now? Well, all of a sudden, Louisville in range to tie this game or take the lead.
You've seen them do some nice work in their second half adjustments here in recent weeks. Last week, we had their game against Kentucky. First drive of the second half, they went 15 plays for 9 minutes and 10 seconds. And all of a sudden here, their first drive of the second half, throwing the ball to Thrash more. We've seen some creativity, getting into a rhythm.
Longest drive of the night for Louisville, 10 plays, 48 yards. Here's Jordan out of the backfield, and Jordan will take it down.
It's just a good,
20.
quick decision by an experienced quarterback, getting through his progression and finding the check down fast. The quicker you get it to Jordan, a running back out in space, the faster he's going to be able to turn upfield and do something positive.
3rd and 2. Texas to Tuscaloosa and beyond. There are a lot of folks interested in what Louisville can do here. 2 tight ends in on the right side on 3rd and 2. Jordan straight ahead. He is stonewalled. He is short of the line to gain. As the defense with Byron Turner and Braden Fisk able to make the tackle. 4th down.
You got to kick the field goal here if you're Jeff Brown. I mean, you haven't had any opportunities to put points up on the board, so you got to pay off this drive and trust your defense that has been playing so well in this game.
And it'll be Brock Travelstead with a shaky week against Miami, then bounced back last week against Kentucky on for a 36-yard attempt to try to tie this game. And with that, we are tied. A 12-play drive for Louisville. Brock Travelstead set the school record with a 53-yarder earlier this year in a key game against NC State. And here in the ACC championship game in the 3rd quarter, he ties it against the Noles. Look at the smile on my man with the Washington shirt on here. He's like, we're in. Don't worry about it.
I know where I'm going to be on January 1st.
Hey, tomorrow it's the Jimmy V Women's Classic. You got number 1 South Carolina and Duke on ABC at 1 p.m. Eastern. Then number 11 UConn against Texas. Number 10 at 3 p.m. At 5 on ESPN, Ohio State and Tennessee getting after it.
All right, can
Jimmy V Women's Classic.
Can Louisville's defense here keep their foot on the gas and force a punt to get the ball back at midfield? I mean, he expects it by now. He's not even excited. He's like,
he's not even watching his own game.
You've gone 3 years in a row. He's like, I'm not worried about it. Another Wildcat setup here for Florida State offensively. Toafili behind center. Yep.
Toafili's had some success earlier tonight as he will run it again and gets a good block to break free. Lawrance Toafili, could he? Here he goes. And they push him out inside the 10. But a big chunk play for the Noles.
What a fantastic job. Dimitri Emmanuel pulling, Darius Washington at left tackle pulling, both getting critical blocks on this delayed power. Phenomenal. Great patience. The hole opens up. Toafili puts his foot in the ground and shows off the speed.
And they're going to stick with it.
If it ain't broke, don't fix it, right, Joe?
And Brock Glenn, the true freshman quarterback, not going to need him if Toafili's doing stuff like this right here. Touchdown, Florida State. That didn't take long.
That time it's Keandre Jones at guard, kicking out Stephen Herron up front. The big fella just getting a nice block and setting a crease for Toafili. He's really doing a nice job allowing these things to set up before getting north. If you're Florida State, you got to keep running the Wildcat.
This is the other thing that people have pointed to. Just find a way to win. That's what championship teams do. So you're down to your number 3 quarterback, the true freshman. Okay. In Charlotte, trying to cap this wild 24 hours of college football championship play. And the mark of a fighter moment is brought to you by Modelo. And what a fight from Toafili.
It was a big-time answer. Louisville just went 13 plays, kicked a field goal. They come right back out. The very first play in a Wildcat, Toafili gets to the outside, shows his speed. And if it ain't broke, don't fix it. Very next play, go right back to it to the right side. And Toafili gets in. Really good blocks. We've seen that. Pulling offensive linemen, getting him to the second level. They're looking at Mike Norvell right here doing his best. Mike McDaniels from Miami, opening it up down the sidelines. You know, we heard him at the start of the game talking to his team saying, you are built for this. And that's what he's talking about, being able to answer.
Plummer being chased by Fisk again and just has to burn it. You saw the wheels from Mike Norvell. Remember, Mike was a wide receiver at Central Arkansas and is in their Hall of Fame. He broke the school record, had 213 career receptions. He says, I can still run. I still got the wheels.
They could use him right now, too, down the seam. Some of these zone coverages. But right now, his team, his defense now has to answer. When the offense puts points up like that in a touchdown, now you've got to take control, get off the field, and get it back to the O.
Plummer on second down to the near side, gets it complete to Thrash, who spins for an extra yard against Thomas.
Watch this route by Jamari Thrash outside. We talked about him being sudden, his ability to cut on a dime. He's working one-on-one against Thomas. Stop route. Thomas can't even stay up. He just breaks his ankles. He needs to get more touches, Joe. That's the guy that's winning. There's been no separation in these routes except from number 1. If you're Jack Plummer, he's got enough experience to know if it's working, man, I'm just going to keep going back to the dudes that are winning.
The very run scheme of Louisville back to the I formation with Garendo and Martin. And here is Garendo, and Garendo is wrapped up by Akeem Dent.
Well, they go with a delayed lead draw. It's an NFL run, and Akeem Dent came on the safety blitz. Inside, it was Byron Turner, who got hurt earlier in the game, able to make his play as well. Joe, Louisville's not getting enough on first down. They're making these drives difficult. They're only averaging 3 yards on each first down. They've got to be more productive early in the drives.
Especially against an elite defense like this. Try to stay on schedule if you can. 2nd and 11. Can they get out of the hole? Threw it behind the intended target. He was looking for Josh Lifson, the senior tight end.
That's a throw Jack Plummer would like to have back. With the miss now, what does Jeff Brom dial up on 3rd and long? And how are you helping out your tackles against Jared Verse and Patrick Payton? Right now, Isaac Arendo's in there in the game. Looks like he's going to be lining up to the left side. That's usually where Jared Verse lives, on the left side of the offensive line.
3rd and 11. Verse is in that three-point stance. They're bringing a safety blitz as well, but he is able to get it off, and it's incomplete. Just a little too high for Thrash as Thomas was there with coverage.
Well, you try to keep a tight end in and a running back in on the other side to chip the ends, to give Plummer enough time. Good coverage by Thomas on the outside against Thrash, and the defense does their job. You've seen the offense go 2 plays and score a touchdown. The defense now getting the football back. It's good complementary football.
7th punt of the night for Brady Hodges. Remember, he had one off the side of the foot earlier. Outside the numbers, where Coleman has to field it there. Florida State has won 18 straight games. Number 19 seemingly would punch their ticket. We will see.
Not just missing the biggest part of your offense, you're missing a leader that has the ability to connect with every player on the team. He is the heart of this team, and as the heart, Travis had to sweet talk team doctors pregame so he could stay on the sidelines tonight and not go up to a suite. He's still connecting with his teammates, supporting them, and they'll tell you they're not just doing this for him, they're doing it with him, guys.
That's a good point, and that's a big difference. That ball was deflected, nearly intercepted by Alderman. Brock Glenn, of course, the starting quarterback. Tate Rodemaker got the start a week ago, but took the big hit.
It's another bad decision, though, by Glenn. That they're getting him on the perimeter. They're just trying to give him easy throws here. He's got Johnny Wilson in the flat. He's got to give it to him now, and now, or now. And he takes his eyes off of it, forces it over the middle of the field. Very lucky this wasn't intercepted. I mean, that could almost have been picked by 2 different guys. Alderman knocking it to the ground.
We're back to the Wildcat formation as Glenn has split out. Toafili, this is where they've had the most success tonight. They run GT counter with Toafili, and it goes for 3 yards.
But now Brock Glenn's got to come back in under center, right?
Right.
3rd and long in this kind of situation. And, they've tried to throw it over to Johnny Wilson in the boundary one-on-one in these spots. Try to give him easy, clean looks.
3rd down and 7. Four-man rush against Glenn. That ball should have been intercepted. Every which way, it could have been in the hands of Ben Perry, but he dropped it.
Wow. And we talked about just how one turnover could completely change the complexion of this game. That was a gift from Brock Glenn. Good pressure coming off the edge. I think that affected the throw a little bit. He was trying to go back shoulder to his tight end, but that's a play Ben Perry has got to make on Florida State's side of the field.
6th, 3 and out, 7th punt. Coleman fields it at the 32 with the fair catch. What's going on, Kev?
It's time now for our Dr. Pepper Fansville studio update. Big Ten title game. Iowa gave up 2 rushing touchdowns all season. Blake Corum has 2 tonight in Indy. He ties the school record with his 55th career score. 17-0 Michigan over Iowa. And considering Iowa's offense, that feels like 50-0 right now. Back to you.
It really does, and we start to get clarity with the big picture of the college football playoff selection. And remember, the protocols, the judge and rank teams, if teams are comparable, they'll use tiebreakers, and winning a conference title is one of them. But so is head-to-head results. And Texas has that big notch as he goes underneath and is able to get it complete to Kariski, the tight end. So here we have this situation where, yes, Florida State is undefeated. Yes, Florida State could take a crown tonight, and no Power 5 undefeated conference champions ever been denied. But you have to look and assess and apply that word for best teams.
Florida State's offense doesn't look like one of the 4 best.
Their defense does.
Their defense certainly does. They're shutting down right now a very good Louisville offense.
2nd and 5. Jordan trying to get that extra leg drive, but he is pushed back by Daniel Lyons.
Like, you're seeing the NFL talent that Florida State has at every level, all across the board defensively. The speed they have, the job they've done recruiting and in the portal, experience, and they're dominating. Louisville has averaged 33 points a game this year. They were getting 6.6 yards a play. That's top 20 in the nation. But they've gotten absolutely nothing against an old defense. So part of the eye test, and you talk about this team without Jordan Travis, offense obviously has major issues, but this defense is playoff caliber, no doubt.
3rd and 2. Plummer downfield, wanting more than 2 as he looks to thrash. And that is incomplete coverage from Green.
Wow, Green was on the coverage. He tried to turn his head to locate the ball. He missed it. It actually fell into the belly of Thrash. He just wasn't able to make the catch. He's trying to kind of give him a 50-50 ball right here. Look, Green kind of turns around, doesn't find it, and it's there for the taking. Nice coverage on the outside, and Jack Plummer finds himself back on the bench very quickly again. Florida State's defense continues to play well.
You know, this weekend is the only time that all 13 members of the selection committee are watching the games together. They're sitting back watching this broadcast, trying to assess Florida State. And tomorrow is selection day, and it'll get going at noon Eastern on ESPN. And Jesse, I asked the question to you. If you start going through all the criteria, when Reese and the guys deliver this news, does the committee, with an undefeated Florida State team and a conference champion, would they view that as comparable to one-loss other conference champions when you look at how dominating Texas looked today, how awesome of a win Alabama had today? On the ground, and they do so with Hill.
Well, Joe, there's so many factors they're going to take into consideration. Number one is precedence. You've talked about it. No undefeated Power 5 has ever missed. That 0 in the loss column has to mean a lot. From a resume standpoint, if they win tonight, it's pretty good. I mean, 3 top 25 wins, 2 against top 15 teams, 8 wins against bowl-eligible Power 5 teams. That'd be most in the country. You've seen the talent on defense, but you also have to factor in X factors as well, like injuries, what they've had to overcome all year long on the offensive line. If they were to beat a top 15 opponent tonight with a third-string true freshman quarterback, that's got to count for something.
Glenn on the sprint right, but he puts it into the ground in front of Johnny Wilson's feet.
On the flip side of that, you've got a Texas team that has looked very dominant now in these last couple of weeks. Went to Tuscaloosa and won by 10 points against Alabama. The SEC champion, who just beat the #1 team in the nation.
Are those the 2 best wins in college football this year? What Texas did on the road, what Alabama did today?
No doubt. So there's so many different factors and variables to consider if you're the committee based on what happens here tonight.
Well, we still got a lot of ball to be determined in just a 1-possession game and a 3rd down and 5. Glenn back to pass, A-gap pressure. They pick it up over the middle and incomplete. Morlock had his paws on it, but couldn't put it away.
Well, it's one of the few times we've seen Glenn throw on time. He was able to hitch. That ball came out quickly, put it on Morlock's body. In the back end, Jarvis Brownlee, though, the ex-Seminole, nice job with coverage, getting the right arm in and knocking it away.
Mike Norvell watching Brownlee, who was an 11-game starter at Florida State, now come up with plays for Louisville. 7th 3 and out for Florida State. Their 8th punt. Mastromano takes it away. Fair catch at the 41 by Coleman. Coming up tonight after the game, it is the ACC Huddle Crew. They'll have the complete wrap-up of the day live from right here in Charlotte on the ACC Network. They do an outstanding job every week. Look forward to hearing what they have to say.
Jack Plummer, you're talking to Jeff Brom here before you take the field. You've got to get a rhythm going again offensively. You got to have success on this opening play. And I love the creativity we saw at the start of the second half from Jeff Brom with screens and trick plays and moving the pocket. It was the only time in this game it seems like they had Florida State's defense on their heels. just feels like a big moment.
Turner will get the work, and he catches a wide open gap. Maurice Turner, and Louisville is in position to try to tie this game as a helping hand with the photographer on the far sideline. 46-yard run for Maurice Turner.
One-on-one blocks up front by Tyler at left tackle and Michael Gonzalez here at guard, and that creates the hole. Turner's the third-string running back, but he's dynamic because of his speed and what he can do in the passing game. We haven't seen much yet. Haven't called his name very much in this game, Joe, but there's the big play they needed on a first down. Completely flipped the field and now knocking on the door.
Plummer. He's going to run behind his tight end, Lifson. Final minute here of the third quarter.
It's a really good decision there by Plummer because he's got Lifson in the flat, but Deloach is going to take that away. So he's not hesitating. Right now, I'm going. I'm just going to get what I can get against this man-to-man defense. Everyone's got their back turned to me, and I'll just put us in a position here, second and short, down in the red zone.
Big fullback Dwayne Martin is in the game. Turner's the featured back, slightly behind Plummer on 2nd and 3. To the end zone, incomplete, trying to connect with Thrash.
Bernardo Green on an island again, just shutting it down on the outside. Press coverage, they're going slant into the end zone, just no window. A little bit of hand fighting, but we've seen the referees let that go here in the second half. Plummer trying to put that football out in front of his receiver to make a play. That's good coverage, man. Swatting it away with the left hand.
3rd and 3. Brown getting the call in. Play clock down to 2 seconds for Plummer. Going to run speed option. He's going to keep it, and he's going to get the first down. It is 1st and goal, Louisville.
They've run the change-up speed option twice in this game.
Sitting on a 1st and goal. Turner, nowhere to go at all. Peyton and Brown on the tackle.
That's a good point. Mike Norvell talking to Katie just now. His defense has been on the field for 11 minutes in that third quarter. Playing a lot of snaps here in the second half. So are they going to tire out? You see some guys now putting their hands on their hips a little bit. What's the stamina? You see a big mass substitution for Florida State trying to bring in fresh bodies here with their backs against the wall.
Crowded for Thrash. A flag comes down as Thrash is thrashed by Fisk and lost yardage. So they reverse course, and it goes in the opposite way.
Trying to get some trickeration on the reverse there, but they got a holding on Nate Kariski on the left side.
Holding. Offense number 85. Offensive decline. Defensive take the result of the play. Third down.
They're trying to get Florida State's defense to flow that way and then bring it back to the other side, but there was penetration up front. And that was the big difference. Florida State's defensive line, they have just been a handful for Louisville.
They have been up for the challenge of understanding. Tate Rodemaker is supposed to be the starting quarterback in concussion protocol. Unable to go tonight, of course, would be clearing protocol in time for beyond this. For the freshman quarterback, his limitations, and Adam Fuller's group has been dominating. Now 3rd and goal. Plummer looking for anything. Flag is down as he lofts it out of the back of the end zone.
It's going to be Brian Hudson at center getting a hold on Joshua Farmer.
Holding. Offense number 61. Downfield decline. 4th down.
That's the ACC's most outstanding blocker at center for Louisville, and no matter who Florida State has lined up on him, it's been very hard for him to play clean. That just speaks to the talent Florida State has up front. incredible game right there. He's just kind of holding on. He's not letting him go, And Farmer puts his hands up in the air to get the referee's attention, and it works. Nice job stepping up there by Plummer. They're just not clean up front on the O-line right now.
So Travested comes back in. Made from 36 earlier. This from 33. To cut into the lead, and it just sneaks inside the upright. 10-6 here. 13 and a half minutes to go to define so much this championship and beyond. Don't go anywhere. Committee, the 13 members, they are tuned into this broadcast right now. They started watching last night together with Oregon and Washington in the Pac-12. The deliberations will be ongoing until tomorrow at noon when the show begins, as they're going to kick this short fair catch at the 20-yard line. Kevin.
Tez, time now for our All-State Good Hands play of the day. Quinn Ewers had a career day in defensive tackle. Tavondre Sweat gave us the Heisman pose in the end zone. In their final conference game, Texas wins the Big 12 championship. And now they wait and wonder, does a head-to-head win over Alabama matter? Back to you.
If we have 144 total passing yards in this game with two teams. Ewers had 452.
He had 350 at halftime. He was on fire. And yes, that win head-to-head against Bama has to matter. Otherwise, why do you play the game? Why would you want to schedule a game like that on the road against a team like Bama in the first place if it's not going to matter to your playoff chances?
The language that the committee says is if teams are comparable, then we go to the tiebreakers. Head-to-head, strength of schedule, common opponents, they're all laid out. Benson on the carry here, as is the one that they lean on the most if teams are comparable, and that is winning a conference championship.
How much does the zero in the loss column matter to the committee for Florida State? Yes, they've got struggles on offense, but there's head coaches on that committee, former coaches and ADs, who understand in college football it's hard week in and week out to win.
The polls for the arguments started coming in a few weeks ago when Jordan Travis got in.
That's right. Exactly.
Now Rodemaker, the backup, unable to go. Left with Brock Glenn, true freshman in his first start. 2nd and 6.
There's a blitz zero look, and it looks like Brock Glenn's audibling.
They're going to back out of it as the whistles came in before the snap.
And it's an interesting cat and mouse game right now.
It's a late game. Offense. 5-yard penalty. 2nd down.
Maybe because of the inexperience, it just takes them a split second longer to realize what the coverage is and then get it communicated to everybody to switch it up. Ron English, you see him right there calling plays defensively for Louisville. He has been aggressive. He has stayed aggressive. He's always been one step ahead of Mike Norvell calling plays for Florida State's offense.
How about the opportunity for this Louisville team? Just trailing by 4. First-year staff who comes in, Jeff Brom and company. As they're going to go with the Wildcat again on 2nd and 11. This time it's Benson. It's been Toafili, but it's a direct snap to Benson. And Benson is going to go ahead for 3 yards. It'll be 3rd and long.
Yeah, Louisville's changing their defense now. When they see Benson or Toafili, anybody in the Wildcats, safeties are getting down way closer to the line of scrimmage. They're not afraid of these guys throwing it over their heads. They're not going to let these linemen pull, these slow developing blocking schemes open up lanes. They're just going to go attack and play downhill.
Do they put it in the hands of the freshman quarterback here on 3rd and 8? Here's Glenn. And they sack him again. 4th time tonight that Louisville has taken down Brock Glenn.
There's another bare look by Louisville up front. Everybody is covered, and it's the man lined up right over center that's able to loop around everyone. Everyone's covered here. This is the winner. Stunts and games, showing one look, bailing out to another. I think it was Lole getting the sack. As Norvell's talking to his true freshman quarterback, trying to settle him down at a critical time in this game.
Jesse, their 8th 3 and out. Mastromano, they come after him and they get him. Special teams surging in against the punter and taking him down. As they shifted the shield, he rolled to the side, and that is exactly selection committee goes. Will Louisville cash in and take the lead here in the fourth quarter? Frierson with a big play, and now a golden opportunity as they take over on the 12-yard line. Play action. Plummer to the end zone. What a catch! Are they saying touch? No! Incomplete, they say.
They had Kariski, the tight end, one-on-one. He's running a wheel route with Tatum Bethune at linebacker. Plummer gives them a chance. He puts it where only his guy can make the play. It's a high point.
Good on the field is an incomplete pass.
Kariski had that for a moment, and then Bethune came away with it. Watch Kariski. He's got it there, hits the ground, and Bethune rolls away with it, so the completion of the catch didn't fully happen by just a millisecond.
And I think Bethune actually had possession, but he was already out of bounds. I'm not sure the football actually touched the ground after he rolled over. This is an incredible play, ripping it out with the right arm. Kariski doesn't have possession.
I mean, the ball's laying on his chest as he's in the end zone. The next thing you know, Bethune's rolling over him to disrupt and dislodge the ball. Bottom line, it's 2nd and 10. Jordan trying to get around the right edge, and he can just get 1.5 yards. It was Bethune again chasing with Thomas.
So this play just feels massive right now, because if they don't score a touchdown without Florida State's defense is playing, I don't know if a field goal is going to get it done for Louisville moving forward. They've got to think about who's going to win here. And one place that Plummer keeps going to is Jamari Thrash out on the boundary. Can Jeff Brom move him around, maybe put him in the slot in a different position to allow him to work the middle of the field or find him a favorable matchup? Right now they've got him in the slot. They've taken him away from the boundary. He's lined up right here inside.
3rd and 9. 4-man rush against Plummer to the end zone. This time, and it's intercepted by Bethune. He made a great play earlier and comes up with the pick in the end zone. The Florida State defense does it again.
A clinic by Bethune in coverage against these tight ends. We saw the great play against Kariski a few moments ago on 1st down. Here's Joey Gatewood. He's running a post down the middle of the field. Bethune's just going to run with it. He locates it. He gets his head turned around. The ball is thrown behind by Plummer, and that is a massive turnover in the end zone. The biggest play of the game.
After special teams came up huge for Louisville, after the punter was taken down, and Bethune saves the day with 10 minutes to play. Toafili, he gets free and goes ahead, close to that line to gain 10 yards there, tackled by Menkins.
You know, interceptions have been a problem for Jack Plummer this year. They've thrown 11 coming into the game. That's number 12. Oftentimes they've come at inopportune moments, and he knows that was a big one. It's critical right now for Florida State's offense, Joe. They've got to get a little drive going and stay on the field. Their defense has played a lot of snaps in the second half. They just got to create the big turnover, but they need time on the sideline to get their win back. So Brock Glenn's got to mastermind something here.
Toafili straight ahead, and look at that speed, and then lowers the shoulder for 5 more yards. First down, Noel.
And you love this as a head coach and a play caller when you're watching your offensive line take over in the fourth quarter when it matters most. You know Louisville knows the run's coming, right? True freshman quarterback who's had some struggles. They know this is coming downhill. You got Toafili out in the slot. You motion him in. You hand it off. But the big fellas up front that have been fighting injuries all season long, they're making their presence felt.
That was an excellent steal by Darius Washington for that 15-yard run. Benson goes nowhere. Benson tackled for a loss by Cam Kelly.
Yeah, Cam Kelly coming off the edge on a safety blitz, highly recruited out of high school. Georgia wanted him, Ohio State wanted him, Florida State wanted him. Committed to UNC and then transferred to Louisville, and he's been a big-time player, especially against the run in the secondary for Louisville.
3.5 to play. ACC championship on the line. Undefeated season. College football playoff on the line. 2nd and 11. Benson just backs his way for a couple of yards. Incomplete. Time and again, the struggles on third down.
I got to be honest. I'm impressed because I wasn't sure if Louisville at corner could match up with Coleman and Wilson, these one-on-one type throws because of their frames and their size. But they've done that. They've been physical on the outside in the secondary, winning those matchups.
See what kind of protection they give to Alex Mastromano here, the punter. 7.5 minutes to play. They got to him last time. As he punches it downfield. And Coleman the fair catch at the 14-yard line. Louisville still has their opportunity. This is what happened moments ago. But then, when they were looking to hit the jackpot, they nearly had it with Kariski. And then Bethune said, let me show you how you secure a football. The big interception was big, too. And by the way, congratulations to Rhett Lashley and SMU winning the American, soon-to-be an ACC team. With their backup quarterback, Coach Lashley, now a champion. Plummer pulls it. Plummer wanted to take a shot downfield, and then he just throws it away as it was traffic and disruptive with that front of Florida State. And they said they want a penalty.
That might be intentional grounding. I don't know if Plummer was outside the pocket.
I don't think he was outside the tackle box at all.
Yeah, and there was nobody in the vicinity.
Intentional grounding. Offense on the 13. So lots of down to squad the foul. Second down.
Matt Austin, our rules experts, nodding his head saying that is the right call as the rain comes down here in Charlotte.
Yeah, you see him kind of play fake here, just sort of set up a little bit of a bobble there. You know, it's starting to rain now, so the ball's getting slippery, but he never got outside the tackle box, and there was nobody there, so that's an easy call to make. These Florida State fans, man, they're feeling it.
Boy, have they asked a lot of their defense tonight, and has their defense over-delivered.
Time and time again, yes. Right? Nothing more like on that last drive. That's the turnover on downs and then getting the pick in the end zone, but how much more do they have left?
And came in knowing they had to have this kind of game. Plummer from his own end zone. Can he escape it? Yes, the ball is past that goal line, but he is brought down again. It's the third time he's been sacked. This time it's Peyton.
Yeah, Peyton and Verse. We talked about this. When it's third and long, it's this guy going here and it's this guy coming here, and there's really nothing you can do up front. This is just not where you want to be. Everything constricts and collapses. And on top of that, we got Fabian Lovett pushing the pocket back into his lap. So I guess the defense still has some left in the tank, Joe. They're still playing at such a high level with such a small margin of error.
3rd and 23, just going to get the ball out quickly to Thrash, and Thrash gives them a little bit of breathing room out to the 10-yard line.
I mean, it's crazy when you think about it in this game. Florida State has not turned it over. They only have 2 penalties, and their defense is playing unbelievably well. And to your point, they knew they had to do this with Brock Glenn in the game, getting his first career start in an ACC championship against the top 15 opponent. This defense, Adam Fuller, a D coordinator, has to be so pleased with what he's seeing.
Jordan Travis looks on. They're going to have to scatter with this low punt that then gets to the 49-yard line. With just over 6 minutes to play to determine the ACC champion. And Commissioner Greg Sankey, the SEC, says on being left out, that's not the real world.
It's like Sesame Street. What do you say? One of these things is not like the other.
First down, Florida State trying to close out this game. Trey Benson is going to help that cause. Look at the tough run for a first down under 6 minutes to play.
And you can put this thing away if you're Florida State and you score a touchdown here. It feels like this is ball game. And you got to love how this Florida State offensive line has just imposed their will here in the fourth quarter. Closing in on 150 rushing yards now. It's been wildcat. It's been conventional handoffs. I wouldn't be shocked if we saw Brock Glenn maybe carried himself a few times. You do whatever it takes to win this game.
First down run, Benson again, and here he goes inside the 20.
Guard tackle. That's the bread and butter run play for Mike Norvell. You got to pull this, and then you got to get a seal here by your center. And Maurice Smith, who's playing banged up, does a nice job. Creating creases. You get Benson in the second level. Hasn't happened often tonight. It's been happening a lot during the season. For Florida State, just let the time tick away and keep running the football.
21-yard run from Benson. Over at that play clock and your head coach, and you milk this thing. You try to bring it in for a nice landing and an undefeated record in conference championship. You know, I just mentioned Greg Sankey from the SEC. Jim Phillips, the commissioner of this conference, the ACC, had a great visit with us before kickoff, and he reminded everybody, he said, listen, 10-7 combined record ACC against the SEC and Big Ten, 6 wins over the SEC, and a big strong emphasis on the point of precedent of history with the College Football Playoff Committee. No undefeated Power 5 team has ever been left out. But this is a different year with different teams, with Texas and Alabama looking as good as you can look, with Bama having the best win of all. Brock Glenn takes it ahead for a yard and a half.
Such a good play there by Mason Reiger on the outside. Louisville, it's getting desperation time here. They need to get the football back, and they cannot allow a touchdown at this point. Florida State's in field goal range. It's okay to give up 3 because you're going to give Jack Plummer one more opportunity to march the field, score a touchdown, potentially take this thing into OT.
Well, then here's the defining play as Jordan Travis looks on. Had successful surgery here in Charlotte this week. 3rd down and 8. Glenn looks left, looks right, comes back, and that is blown up, and the ball is out. But what a big hit on Toafili. As Quincy Riley right in the midst of it.
There's Quincy Riley. Remember, they were looking for targeting early in the game. They left him in, and this is why. He can make impact plays like this. It was big that he was able to stay in. Reads the screen, sniffs it out, and that is just a blow-up shot on Toafili. And Louisville's defense gets the stop they needed on 3rd down.
And to your point, you can give up the 3 and still put it in the hands of Louisville quarterback Jack Plummer. They're going to take a look and see, was this a completed catch and then a turnover? Was the ball out? We will show you that as this play is officially under review.
Here's the Toafili there. He's kind of getting spun around. I don't know if he ever had full possession of it by the time he hit the ground. And once he did, the ball popped out. I don't think that was a catch.
Matt Austin, our rules expert, says it should not be a catch, as he never put it away and had firm control through the process.
And that was perfect timing. Now, you can't get there any better than Quincy Riley did to jar that ball loose. Louisville's defense has been so good all game long. Outside, really, of giving up that one long wildcat run to Toafili, they have been tremendous. And Jeff Brom's defense, they are still playing so hard here all the way to the end. And that was a big question coming into this game. What Louisville were we going to see, right? After losing to Kentucky the way they did, they feel like they gave that game away in the second half. It's hard for teams to turn the page, but they came into this one energized. They're not playing for a playoff spot, obviously.
After further review, the run on the field is an incomplete pass. Please set the game clock to 3 minutes, 15 seconds, 3:15. It'll start on the snap.
But an ACC championship for Louisville is massive for their players.
A team that was picked to finish 8th in the conference, a team that has 25 transfers, obviously a first-year staff, bringing in a quarterback simply for the familiarity on his 3rd college program. As Ryan Fitzgerald will try to make it a touchdown margin for undefeated Florida State. drills it on through. 33-yard field goal. Katie George with you here at the ACC championship game. Florida State with a 13-6 advantage with 3:11 to play in the game.
Well, defense, you've heard it over and over again tonight. Florida State has been outstanding. Getting pressure, creating a bunch of third and longs, and letting this D-line eat. They've done a nice job, too, up front. Being physical and slowing down the run game. That's the identity. But the biggest play of the game was here. It was Bethune getting the interception in the end zone here in the fourth quarter. And now they need one more stop. That's what it feels like. One more stop, and Florida State will be ACC champions. They'll be undefeated. We'll see if that's enough to get into the playoff.
Will they be celebrating in the rain here in Charlotte? Jordan can't find much. We've never said, will a team be celebrating in the playoff when they're an undefeated Power 5 conference champion? But this is the most unique of years, as this 4-team system will be going away. We'll have the 12-team playoff starting next year. And yet you sit back with Michigan and Washington, and then how impressive Texas and Alabama, those two teams were today, as that is drilled right at the line of scrimmage. As Lovett was in the way of the passing lane, and now this Louisville team trying to have some magic late against Florida State.
Florida State substituting more D-line, but they're leaving Verse and Peyton at defensive end. And that's a good idea. So in the last third and long situation, they just pin their ears coming off the edge. Louisville needs to have a plan. Tight ends and running back. They got a tight end to the left helping against Jared Verse. They got a running back to the right helping against Patrick Peyton.
3rd and 7. Plummer. That is batted by Peyton. He just found a little bit of space and got in that passing lane.
Well, he was smart, Joe, because he looped to the inside and he realized he wasn't going to get to the quarterback, so he just stopped his rush. Watch this. Loop inside. I'm not going to get there. I'm trying to pick a guy. Okay, I'm just going to stop, and I'm just going to basically now become a spy and knock this down.
And he's 6'5".
With long arms.
Yep.
205-pound linebacker when he showed up in Tallahassee. Now he's gained 35 pounds, and now he's terrorizing quarterbacks.
4th down and 7. Desperation time for Louisville with the ACC championship on the line. Florida State trying to stay undefeated. Plummer on 4th and 7. Wrapped up and taken down by Fisk. Oh, as he had a night.
It's the same stunt and game we've seen up front that Florida State's been using time and time again. Jared Verse going to get the pick. Fisk going to loop around to the outside, and Louisville's offensive line, they just can't handle it. They don't pass it off. Two linemen run into each other. It's been Fisk, it's been Verse, it's been Taylor, it's been Lovett. This is the best D-line in the ACC, and what a luxury it is when you can get home with just 4 guys. Jordan Travis, he sees it in practice, he knows about it. Mike Norvell is loving it.
And Brom knows it. And Brom's offense suffering 5 sacks and 12 TFLs. As they'll go Wildcat to put this thing away. Benson just probing that right side before he is driven back. 3 timeouts remain for Louisville.
I'm not going to lie. If I was Mike Norvell, I'd be thinking about scoring a touchdown here because I think style points are important.
There's honestly, no doubt they are.
I think they are. I know most coaches at this point would just say, hey, we're going to bleed the clock, win the game, and that's the important thing. And that might be true, but considering what we've seen yesterday and today, if I were him, I'd be trying to put more points up on the board.
Timeout used by Louisville. Well, let's continue that conversation, Jesse, because if you consider style points and you consider some of the language that's used. All right, let's talk about the style of Texas and Alabama today, because Texas offensively was as stylistic as you could have. And Alabama had as much drama and played at the highest championship level that you can show in this sport with the best win you can have against #1 Georgia.
And I think their fan bases and their teams and their coaches and their argument is going to be right now, if you put us, Texas or Alabama, That's what they're going to say. Of course, you think back to the last time you saw a third-string quarterback.
Ball start. Offense, number 48. 5-yard penalty, second down.
In a conference championship game. Think about Cardinals Jones going in for his first start for Ohio State in 2014. They had a loss, by the way, but they beat Wisconsin 59-0.
That's right.
And the committee just couldn't ignore that, and they put them in, and the rest is history. Of course, they won a national championship. I think the big question, again, it comes down to how much do 0 losses really matter to the committee, because it's amazing Florida State was able to do that. And if they win tonight against the top 15 team with your third-string quarterback, that's a big deal.
It's on 2nd and 14, just gets a yard there. Louisville, 2 timeouts remaining per year with the tackle, and they'll use that other timeout. Now, you brought it up, so we'll bring you back there in history to 2014 when Ohio State saw Jones lead him to the national championship. J.T. Barrett was injured in the Michigan game, the final week of the season. And then the night before, the selection committee had to say, okay, how are we going to see this? Big Ten championship game, they just blast Wisconsin.
Yeah, there were a lot of question marks. Braxton Miller was supposed to be the guy at the start of the year. He got hurt in August. And Cardale Jones came in, and we didn't really know what the offense was going to be. And could they beat Alabama in the semifinal and take on Oregon? And Marcus Mariota, and they did. And Cardale Jones just kept getting better and better. But that 59-0 win, I mean, that left a resounding statement in the eyes of the committee.
So there's Jordan Travis on crutches. You just saw Tate Rodemaker. And understand, obviously, concussion protocol for Tate Rodemaker. So whatever happens in the postseason, he's going to be the quarterback. It's not going to be Brock Glenn, who you see tonight. Here's another Wildcat snap to Benson on 3rd and 13. And the last timeout will be used by Louisville, so an opportunity, of course, for Fitzgerald. But we talked about this earlier in terms of how you go about assessing things, and do you punish a team because of a star player being out? Do you punish a team because of the lack of offense you're seeing, and how you approach that? And the selection committee's been watching a lot of football for now the past 28 hours.
Yeah, no doubt they are. And I think one thing that they'll consider what you just said. Well, if Rodemaker's the quarterback in the semifinal, how good's this offense with him? And so they'll go back and they'll look at North Alabama and they'll look at Florida, and the offense was, it was good at times, and they also struggled a lot of times too. There's a lot for this committee to have to take into account, no doubt. From a resume standpoint, Florida State, in my opinion, is there.
Oh, the resume's there.
And the X factor with the injuries and overcoming that is a big feather in their cap.
The resume has 3 wins that you circle. LSU, Clemson, and obviously this 14th ranked Louisville team as Fitzgerald comes on the field to try to push it past the touchdown margin to a 10-point game. A 40-yard attempt for Ryan Fitzgerald. 2 of 3 tonight. And he just squeezes it inside the upright. So the 40-yarder is good, and that makes it 16-6. What a path it has been for the Noles with Mike Norvell's 4th season. As you see the quarterbacks, the injured quarterbacks, celebrating the margins. The rain intensifies here. And Mike Norvell, we talked about the path. Remember just a couple of years ago, that tough start to the season, the loss to Jacksonville State.
Oh, my gosh.
The loss to Jacksonville State.
He was on the hot seat. There were so many people in Tallahassee that were upset, but he stayed the course, Joe. Trusting that if they kept developing young players, recruiting, getting some guys from the portal, things would turn. And then last year they did. This was a team that grew up. They found ways to win games, doing the things necessary. You win 10, and they've taken the next step in the progression this year. Winning tonight 13-0 is remarkable. You've just seen what he's been able to do now these last couple seasons.
They're going to have the conference championship unless something wacky happens. They're going to have the strength of schedule. Texas and Bama, of course, spectacular today. The task for the College Football Playoff Selection Committee. Do you go against what has been the 10-year history where every undefeated Power 5 conference champion has gotten in? Or do you just clean the slate this week and say, who are the 4 best teams? Who are the 4 best teams? Last year, that format, we are dealing with 4 teams and this selection committee under these circumstances. Plummer again. And guess who? Jared Verse.
Last week against Florida, he took Damian George, the tackle, and completely walked him into the quarterback. He does it again right here. Like, you just shouldn't be able to do this to a 320-pound human being, but he does. And he does it every week.
That's sick.
Like, that's a misdemeanor in some states.
Yeah. That is going to be on the film when they play the NFL draft and his name is called. That's unbelievable speed to power.
Right. It's the speed that scares tackles. They're kick-stepping, and they're trying to kind of create an angle, and then he's just able to transition, get his hands inside. Coming back for an extra year was massive for him for his draft stock and also potentially his national championship chase.
3rd and 3, complete to the thrash. Couldn't hold on to it.
And Renardo Green has just been a beast outside one-on-one. He's been doing that all year. This is a playoff caliber defense. Everybody at home has to understand. It's not. There's no question.
As much as we have panned and we've talked about and we have sat back and we've watched all these punts and all these lacks of 3rd downs to come through, this defense has been the other end of the spectrum. They've been that good. They are superb defensively. Fourth down and 3. Plummer. Fisk is chasing him, and Fisk gets to him. The 300-pounder just closed down on Jack Plummer.
The 7th sack for Florida State's defense. As Fisk is pointing to the ring, the ACC championship is locked up, and this defense is completely dominated.
This kid was playing at Western Michigan, was a star there, right? Said he's just happy to get a nice breakfast.
Yeah, his future breakfasts are going to have shaved black truffle because he's going to be playing on Sunday and he's going to be able to afford it. But I think one of the things the committee's going to think about is, what will this Florida State defense do to a Michigan or a Washington or a Texas or an Alabama? Could they keep them in the game? Could they keep them in the game?
Listen, you got to generate some points, but this defense is at a championship, elite college football playoff championship level. They're in victory formation. Just find a way. It's what Florida State has done down the stretch of this season. They got through the rivalry game with Tate Rodemaker. This week there was a disruption with the protocol Rodemaker was in, and they had to turn to Brock Glenn, the true freshman quarterback. And they said, we'll find a way.
And these are the plays he's been dreaming about calling. Victory formation in the ACC championship game to finish the season undefeated.
Mike Norvell's 4th year at Florida State. And starts celebrating an undefeated season, an ACC championship. Finished for 13, they did. Number 13, Jordan Travis. Brock Glenn only had 8 completions, only passed for 55 yards. But he was able to lean on Toafili and Benson and a defense that brought everything they had to.